Welcome, everybody, to our very first NHCFAE podcast. This is the podcast where we're going to bring you the stories, the insights, and all of those conversations that celebrate you, our members, and the future of aviation. I'm John Espinosa, and I have the pleasure today of having a very special conversation with not just the president of the National Hispanic Coalition, but a dear friend of mine, Mr. Oscar Torres. How you doing, Oscar?
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here and really excited to kick this off and really looking forward. And like you mentioned, the stories and insights and conversations of our members. And I'm fortunate enough to be the first one to go.
Here we go. We're going to dive in today and talk about who we are. We're also going to explain why we exist. And it's so important for our members to understand how we got here and then what's ahead, man. I know there's a lot of energy and there's just this overwhelming kind of surge about where the coalition is going in the future. So let's jump right into this thing. For those of you that are new to us, Oscar, can you share a little bit about what the coalition is? How did it start? And what's really the mission behind it?
The coalition was founded back in 1978. Its sole purpose was to create a space for Hispanics and the professionals in the FAA. A place where they could support one another, share opportunities, and build pathways. Originally, the Hispanic Coalition was formed to give them a voice during times where individuals face unfair treatment and challenges in the workplace. It became a support system, a space where the members were able to gather, share ideas, find mentorship and encouragement. And over time, the purpose grew into something even greater. And we're part of that as well as members now, from a support system among employees to a mission to bridge the gap between our communities in the world of aviation, as we offer mentorship, professional growth, and inspiration. The most important part is this inspiration comes through the stories of our members. And that's how we have evolved over the years.
Yeah, I think one thing that you mentioned is members. And we can't do it without the individuals within our organizations, the leaders within the organizations. And really, Oscar, when we talk about the history of the coalition and how it's evolved over the year, what are some of those milestones throughout your tenure as president? You've been a part of this coalition for many years. What are some of those milestones that you're most proud of?
I think number one, prior to this happening, we've grown tremendously. We had a momentum that was incredible. The members were inspired. They were joining. People that had heard about us but really didn't know what we were doing finally gave us that opportunity and saw right by results of what we were doing, reaching out to our communities. I think what also helped with that is that we've hosted such impactful conferences. We launched scholarship programs and built partnerships that opened doors for so many. And now we take part in major events around the country, especially those hosted by the partners, right? NACA is one, PASS is another one of our great partners that we have here. And we're able to reconnect with our members there. I think what stands out the most out of all this, John, is our resilience, right? Recently, we faced this major change. Unfortunately, we no longer collaborate with the FAA, right? That was our major partner of collaborating and reaching out to communities. And that was a moment of reflection for all of us. But instead of viewing it as a setback, we've chosen to see that as an opportunity, a chance to broaden our reach and have a greater impact across the aviation community, including the private sector and more partners in that industry. We're stepping into uncharted waters for this organization, but that's where growth happens. I'm optimistic about what lies ahead, rebuilding, rebranding, and staying true to our mission. I think it's just the most important thing of service and empowerment. So that's definitely something that I'm really looking forward to. It's definitely exciting, as you alluded to.
Yeah. And as you talk about rebranding, what are some, I know FY26, fiscal year 26, we're just a month into fiscal year 26 and not even a month, we're less than 2 weeks. It really does mark a new chapter for the coalition. So you mentioned rebranding as one of the initiatives. What are some other initiatives that are coming, not just this year, but for years to come?
For the future, the vision, it's definitely becoming a national bridge, right? Connecting public and private sectors, education and communities. We want to build bigger alliances across aviation, bringing in voices that reflect the diversity of the skies that we serve. So my hope that is the new direction allows us to reach more individuals, inspire new leaders, and continue honoring the legacy of those who built this organization before us. This is more than just a rebuild, it's a renewal. It's a chance to show that even when circumstances change, our purpose remains the same: to serve, to uplift, and to inspire the next generation of professionals.
Yeah, just right what you said there as far as inspire the next generation. When I grew up in the coalition, Oscar knows this story. I've served on his board, and my dad was a long-term coalition member, and I can remember going to the conferences, as Oscar mentioned, being a part of the meetings. It truly is an organization that is all about family. And we'll talk a little bit about that later, Oscar. But one of the things that for anyone who's listening, that's not a member yet, what can they gain by joining our community?
I'm going to put it to you this way. I think what the main thing is here is that our organization serves as a platform for these individuals. We're all passionate about not just aviation, but helping our fellow neighbor or inspiring that youngster. I've always said this a million times for you and many people that have heard me speak in the past. We all have a story to tell, and it's an inspiring story, regardless of what it is. We all had different avenues of how to reach to where we are. One of the powerful things of this organization is to give that microphone to that individual. And when I say microphone, I'm talking about going out there and not just representing the organization, but also representing your community and speaking about these great careers. And talking to a youngster, I'll tell you a really good story, even here in Georgia where I live. I went to a high school and I'm talking to an individual. He had this perception. We talk about aviation careers, not just the FAA, but everything else, great professional careers. He had this notion that if he made more money, he would have to pay more taxes, and he just wouldn't. So he just wants to lay low. You turn on the counselor hat. You talk to the parents as well. Educating the parents too is very important. That is the most important thing about this organization. We create a network. For anyone who hasn't joined or never heard of us, we create the whole truth to that word, Familia. We're there to help each other out. We want to make sure you're successful, not just professional, but also on the personal level as well, right? Mental wellness is definitely a topic that has come up. We want to reassure that our members receive that type of support as well. So I think that being the platform, creating the network, and just opening up doors for individuals, it'll definitely serve our communities a whole lot better as well.
I love what you say about not just the benefits that the member receives, but the benefits and the payback that member gets to give to their local community and influence maybe someone who didn't know a career in aviation was possible. I know one of the ways
we serve as the example.
You're right.
That's the main.
Yeah, and that comes through our stories. I think those stories are so powerful. One of the ways that I know one of the new initiatives for FY26 is a broader social media kind of campaign that your board and the Director of Public Affairs has. This new podcast is one of those. Can you talk to us a little bit about how really this podcast fits into the bigger mission of the coalition, and also what's your vision?
I think we are all part of the social media surge, right? It's been there for years now, but I think now the example of the next vision, right? We have to adapt to the new times. We have to utilize all these tools and resources to reach out to as many individuals as possible. You don't connect with people via email very much on a personal level now. I think that's all more work related. But I think that this is a new change, something that we needed. I will be honest and say that we were behind when it came to that. But as many of you have, if you follow our social media pages now on Instagram, you've seen a slight change. We have a new Director of Public Affairs who's taken that to another level. We had an amazing Public Affairs Director, Susie Diaz, for many years, and she took us to a level as well. You know, publishing a magazine, bringing up the website, etc. So I think now we're going into that phase where we have a new Director of Public Affairs that's really taken us to that technological level that's needed. Everybody's using TikTok now. We have Instagram. I think that's what our members want to see, some instant information. I do send monthly updates all the time, but now everybody wants to be in the know at the moment. So I'm embracing it for sure. The board is as well. We've given Ana Peña, our Director of Public Affairs, additional tools and resources to expand, grow with that. You're an example, John. You've grown with your podcast and everything else. And we see that and learn from that. And again, I think it's great. It goes hand in hand with the transition that we're doing, closing the chapter with every collaboration, but also opening up a new door. And I'm really excited about our social media efforts now, led by our Director of Public Affairs, Ana Peña.
Yeah, this isn't going to be the last time we hear from Oscar.
Other members as well. I know it's definitely always a pleasure to be here, but I'm excited because I want our members to be on here to tell their story. And I think that will inspire many others and former members as well that have not rejoined yet, but we're still here. We're still moving forward, and we definitely want them back as well.
I think one thing I get quite often is I thought the coalition was gone. I thought all the employee associations that were associated with the FAA were gone. We're using the platforms to spread awareness that we're not gone.
Yeah.
We're gonna be here, and we're gonna be stronger than ever.
Yeah, and to add to that, John, what I wanted to say was this is the exposure that we need, right? We still have a lot of individuals out there that believe that we stepped away. To give some context, unfortunately, due to executive orders signed by the president, all employee associations that collaborated with the FAA are no longer allowed to collaborate. And we never said, okay, I think we're going to call it a day. Our mission was to continue. We did the pros and cons. At the end of the day, our work, our passion, our commitment to our communities, and the support we want to give our members was so much more than that collaboration. I think it would have been a disservice to the organization to call it quits just because the FAA no longer wanted to partner with us. This is a true testament that what we feel for the FAA, it is what it is. Someday down the line, if they want to collaborate again, we definitely will. But we're going to keep moving forward because I know in my heart, and I know all the members' hearts, that our impact in our communities is so much bigger. And I think that there's moving on to private industry. I think it's just going to be amazing, right? In order to give and talk about these opportunities to many more individuals, not just federal employees anymore.
I love that bigger mission. I'm ready to get behind that and run full speed. Before we wrap up today, I want to take a minute to spotlight you, Oscar. You're getting into your 5th year as president of the coalition.
Yeah, I think first person in history.
First person in history. You're making
due to the circumstances.
That's right. One of the things, Oscar, I think is important for members to understand is you are the right person to lead us through this transition. And this isn't your full-time job. I think that's an important thing that people, listening to this podcast understand. You're an air traffic controller, a federal employee. Can you talk about how that profession has shaped your leadership? It's one of the most demanding professions we have here in the States. Let the listeners know, what's that like?
And for our new listeners, we're all volunteers. No one receives a salary. Now, yeah, we do have a budget membership dues, which is somewhat limited now, but carries on the mission, some travel, et cetera, to get around. But yeah, we all do this. And I think that's what makes us more successful right now, because we do this from the heart. We're committed, we're passionate, trying to pass it forward and just inspire individuals. But yeah, no, as an air traffic controller, you're taught a lot of responsibility and teamwork. I think even though as a controller, me sitting in front of a radar scope, because I'm not in the tower, just so everyone knows, I'm in an en route center. So I work in a radar scope. So you're ultimately in charge in that airspace in that moment. But you also know that you're never truly alone, right? There's always a team around you behind the scenes that make everything work for me. Our technical operations people, our system support specialists, these are individuals. They're truly the unsung heroes behind the scenes that allow me to do my job. I know we're in the headlines, but I think that understanding has shaped me to be this kind of leader I strive to continue to be. One who recognizes that success only happens when there's a strong team working together toward a shared mission, right? And that's what I've been blessed. I think I've been blessed, right? I had a team that no one had personal agendas. We all just got together and we said, hey, we're going to do this better for the organization. I think that's what made such a great result as we grew. I think knowing and acknowledging your team, knowing that and I'll be the first one to tell you, I don't know everything. You have to rely on your team to answer those questions for you and provide those ideas. As John did many board meetings, I go around the room sharing ideas. As an individual, you don't know everything. And I think you only do the organization a disservice if you think that you want to bring your own personal agenda or just because it looks good on a resume. No, it's behind the mission, right? How are we going to make our communities better? How are we going to make this organization better? And how are we going to provide a membership to our members that can benefit them in a very positive way? As you mentioned, my 5th year as president, and looking back, we've done some amazing things. All this coming together couldn't be possible without our board, our executive committee, our directors around the country. I've had the fortune of traveling around the country, working alongside the directors, meeting new members, reconnecting with old members. And you were part of that board too, John. As you served as vice president, director of education as well, your commitment and support is what everyone brought to the table. That made this journey so successful, right? So together we worked to make things a whole lot better. And again, changing lives was part of helping out these youngsters through our scholarship program. So it's definitely a hell of a journey, but acknowledging that you got to surround yourself with a team that shares that passion and commitment. And wow, have I been blessed to do that. And even though now that you're no longer at the board, look, you're still here providing some help for the organization. And I'll tell all our listeners here, when John no longer became vice president, said, whatever you need, I'm here. And that's what I get from everyone else. That means a lot because they still want to contribute to something great. So we continue to do that and appreciate everything you continue to do, John, and everyone else, our members, right? Our current members, they are the heart of this organization. When all this happened with the FAA and everything else, I told our membership, the FAA did not dictate our existence. The members did. And it holds so true now. Our members are the only reason why we're still here. That is a motivation for me. I think that's a motivation for the team as well. I think a motivation for all of us that have really given a lot of time to this organization to continue on, to press on, to not allow those whose intentions were probably to close the door on us and never be heard from again. I think continuing on is the best way to say, no, we are here. We do great work. We want to inspire and continue to help our communities. And we're still here. There's a lot of things that are our foundation, but our membership is definitely there at the core.
I got chill bumps, sir. You inspire many, and it doesn't go unnoticed. There's a saying that says culture eats strategy for breakfast. You can have the best laid plans and the best laid strategy out there. But Oscar has created a culture and really built on a culture of success, of resiliency. He used that word earlier, and it stands the test of time. Oscar, I want to thank you because you've taught me a lot. You got a big heart. You know all the names of the members that you've recruited and that you've met out there at the various conventions, conferences, and events that you attend so well, in despite of your full-time job and your family. So I want to thank you. And I want to thank everybody out there for joining us. This is a special launch, but it's not the last episode of the NHCFAE podcast. We're just getting started. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel because there's so much more ahead. Share this with anybody that you think could benefit. If you enjoyed the conversation, we want you to be able to connect with professionals like Oscar and other professionals that we're going to highlight in this coming podcast episode. So I also want to put a plug in there because we can't do what we do without membership. And I would ask you to consider joining. I'm sure there'll be a link in the show notes, right? And it'll give you access to our membership page, our mentorship, like Oscar talked about, all of our scholarship opportunities, not just for you, the member, for your siblings, for your spouse, for your dependents. And then we give back probably about 30% of our budget goes back to scholarships, mentorship opportunities, and training. And that's something to be proud of as well. How can you get there? More information. I want you to go out and visit www.nhcfae.org to learn more. Put in NHCFAE into Instagram, right? We got Instagram, we have Facebook, we have TikTok. What else do we have, Oscar? How else can people find us out there?
Definitely the website. I know we're going to be updating there. All the social media platforms. We do have a LinkedIn as well. That's going to be updated as well. We're going to try to share those careers that are available out there. Please reach out. I think LinkedIn is one of the best resources to reach out. We can connect you to those individuals. That's one of the things I always tell high school students when they're a little bit undecided or trying to explore careers. Hey, reach out to that individual who's exercising that job and inquire. You'll be surprised how many people out there, ourselves included, our members included, are willing to share that insight of the job. How amazing is it, right? To when you're trying to inspire for a career and then hear from the individual that's actually doing that every day. I think that's more inspiring than ever. So definitely reach out. And I just want to say, our members, thank you for the continued support. Again, we couldn't be here without you guys. And for former members, I understand the circumstances may be a bit difficult, but I really want them to know that we built something really special. We built something great with their support in the past. We definitely would love to have them back and continue and build something new with them as well. That we did it before with them, we would love for them to be a part of it as well. And looking forward to reconnecting with our members, and I'm excited to hear other stories from our members shared through this podcast.
Any last words of advice? Anything that you want people to hear, people to walk away with before we get out of here?
Be bold. Don't be afraid. Take care of yourself. As you lead an organization, you manage a lot of things, but you also got to ensure that your people are well. I've always had these rules among my members, especially our board, who take a lot of time to do the work. First, take care of yourself, because without our health, there's really not much. The rest you won't be able to do the rest. So you take care of you take care of your health. You take care of your family, which is more importantly, right? And then you take care of your job, right? Your career. And then the fourth item, which I always told my team and everybody, the coalition is last. Not because it's not valuable. It's because without the first three, you cannot perform a volunteer function effectively, right? So we want you to be there. We want you to be happy. We want you to be committed. But if those first three things are not there, me as a leader, take care of whichever one of those three may be missing, that is priority number one. We are a volunteer organization. We want everybody to support, but taking care of yourself and your career is definitely a priority. When those three are very well taken care of, we've already proven that once you volunteer, number four is great. I'm looking forward to doing it again with the team and everyone's support.
Yeah, Oscar, those aren't just words, everybody. It's something to be a part of. So if you're on the fence, visit the websites, get on the socials, make sure that you're subscribed to this channel because you're not going to want to miss all these episodes, all these stories, and all these benefits that the coalition has for you. Oscar, thank you for your time today, sir. It's been a pleasure.
So it's great to see you, brother.
All right. See everybody.
Take care.
You too.